Hello guys, welcome back to More Than Makeup. I'm Kelsey and today we're in Mexico and I'm joined with a very special guest. This is my friend Jess Wolfert from Toronto.
Hi guys.
Jess and I met a year ago now.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1 year ago was the New York Masterclass.
And we always tend to meet everywhere except in our own country.
Exactly. We've never hung out in Canada.
I know.
Today we're going to be talking about destination weddings. And the reason why I wanted to do this with you is because that's essentially how we met. Mm-hmm. You actually did Global Glam.
Yes.
That was like the start of all of this.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you tell them how we met?
I had DM'd you because when you were coming to Toronto for the masterclass, I wasn't able to attend that date, but your New York one was already sold out. Either I can do the Amsterdam one or the New York class. And then I DM'd you about it and you're like, babe, just come. I'll give you an extra ticket. I'm like, sign me up. I'm booking my flight. And when I went to the class, we met in person and then we ended up going out to dinner with a bunch of artists that night. Mm-hmm. I feel like we hit it off from the start.
Yeah.
And from there, we went, what was next after that?
Amsterdam.
Amsterdam was the next one. Yeah, because then I was basically like, if I can assist you ever, let me know.
Yeah.
Oh my God, who knew? I thought I was just going to go to one. Here we are.
Yeah. We're together like all year.
Yeah.
But that's what I wanted to say. One thing that I love about you is that you just put yourself out there. That's how all this happened. My New York masterclass had sold out and you messaged me asking if you could come.
Yeah.
It had sold out technically, but I was like, if anyone messages me and asks for a ticket, I'm happy to give them one.
Totally.
So there was that. And then you put yourself out there again for Amsterdam. Yeah. And I talk about this a lot in the podcast about how I love when people go out of their way or like really put themselves out there wanting to assist because it shows me that they're driven and like I want driven people on my jobs with me. We've kind of clicked because you love to travel.
Yes.
And you do a lot of destination weddings yourself.
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
I had had one before meeting you and I loved it, but I feel like you also inspired me to like keep going with it. So then when you had launched Global Glam, I was like, I need to do this. I need to get more into it. And because I love to travel, I was like, I'm just going to put myself in every situation possible to get more or to be inspired by people who are doing those things already, right? So being able to assist you has been a huge opportunity. And I feel like through that, I've been able to gain more confidence to do it on my own as well and put myself out there to attract those clients too, which has been huge. Mm-hmm.
But this past year you have done quite a few. Like you've been in Mexico a lot and I've seen you bouncing around.
Totally.
So that's why I thought today, because, you know, everyone wants to do destination weddings and it looks very glamorous and it looks like the dream and it is like somewhat. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's still work.
Totally.
And I think a lot of people don't realize that it's actually harder than doing a local wedding because you're working in locations that you've never worked in before. You might be working in countries where they don't speak English, so you're dealing with that. The food's different, the climate's different. There's just so many factors that go into it and it is challenging, and I think that I don't talk about that enough. I know I glamorize destination weddings. I'm all about posting the photos and like there is that side of it. Yeah. But for the most part, it's pretty challenging. Yeah. So that's what we're going to dive into today. And I actually did a question box on my Instagram and asked my audience for some questions and we have a whole bunch. Yes. So I thought we could just start with those questions and then I guess the conversation will just roll.
Yeah, totally. One thing I want to add on to that too is I think for the both of us, from the conversations we've had, we already started out as loving to travel. I do feel like you need to have that if you want to get into destination because it goes hand in hand with what you were saying. It's beyond the actual makeup job, right? Like navigating yourself in a new city where you know nobody. If anything happens, it's like, who can you call? Like people are going to be on different time zones or you're not going to know where the nearest town is or whatever, you know, just little things like that. So you have to have that comfortability level of traveling on your own.
And being brave.
Yeah, exactly.
And being flexible.
Totally. Yeah, something will happen. You just have to pivot and figure it out.
Yeah, and a lot of the times you're on your own.
Totally.
That's so true. I've really never thought about it like that. But actually, no, there's a lot of makeup artists that aren't interested in destinations. Like I do have people that say to me, I could never do what you do. Like I'm not interested. And I get it. Yeah. Because even yesterday, for example, like we've just gone to Mexico. It was a perfect flight. Everything was smooth. But we got to Cancun and we sat on the tarmac for an hour and a half. Yeah. And it's getting dark. I haven't got to the hotel yet. Like, I know you're here waiting for me.
I was terrified. I was like, is this girl ever going to show up?
My phone wasn't working.
Oh my God.
My data stopped working. My husband couldn't get a hold of me. Jess couldn't get a hold of me. Then they lost our luggage and got the luggage confused with like a Air France flight. And it was a disaster. It took me 4 hours to get to the hotel. Yeah. And like, that's minor compared to what I've dealt with traveling, right?
Well, think about Amsterdam before the class.
Oh my gosh.
That was wild.
Yeah.
I was like, how are you even performing right now? Because you had just missed a whole flight. I mean, everyone followed along, but
Yeah.
it was crazy.
Yeah. So if you haven't heard my Amsterdam story, basically I was hosting a masterclass in Amsterdam. And the day before, I was meant to fly to Amsterdam from France.
Yes.
And there was a fire in the airport, so they shut the airport down.
Was that the reason?
Yes.
I still didn't know the reason.
Yeah.
Okay, wow.
At the time, no one knew what was going
Yeah.
on. We just thought there was like some wind issue. Like no one knew what had happened. But they closed down the airport. My class was at 8 a.m. the next morning. Like you said before, my assistant was in Australia asleep.
Yeah.
My husband is terrible with technology. Couldn't help me if he tried.
Yeah.
I just had no support. Like I was messaging you. Like,
Yeah.
but what can you do?
Yeah. I was like, I'll do anything, but I just kind of feel helpless on the other side too, because there's only so much that anyone else can do to help you. Like,
Yeah.
we're not there with you, right? So,
No. So I ended up just messaging the content creator who is Italian. And I just said, do you have any advice? And she said, if I was you, I'd get in a car and drive to Italy from France and fly out of Italy in the morning, because the next flight's out of France the next morning.
Yeah.
We're like later in the morning. We weren't sure whether the airport would
Yeah,
open again.
it wasn't
So she
guaranteed.
just said, drive to Italy. So
Yeah.
I called a private driver. It cost me 1,600 euros.
Oh my gosh.
And I drove to Italy overnight. I probably got like 2 hours sleep. I went to a hotel, showered, and then the next morning got up and flew to Amsterdam,
Yeah.
landed at 8 a.m., got to the venue at 9,
Yeah.
Got
And you
dressed.
were like straight into it.
and did the class.
It was wild. I was like, are you going to be okay? And you killed it. You crushed it. I was like, how does this girl have this much energy? It's insane.
I mean, it's just adrenaline. But yeah, I guess people always ask me what my bridezilla story is, if I've ever had some crazy story. And I haven't really, but I've had that travel story.
Yes.
And like, that was just wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, after that, I was like, damn, I can do anything, you know?
Well, you know what? It's like what we were talking about earlier. You said it perfectly. It's like makeup artists, we kind of have this weird superpower that you somehow find the energy, you turn it on, and you make it work.
It's so
Like,
true. Yeah, we were talking about whether either of us have been really sick before a job. And I just said, I don't think that makeup artists, like, it happens, to be honest, because
Yeah.
I think we have superpowers. We just know that if there's a job, we have to pull it together.
Yeah.
And that was Amsterdam. I had to do it.
Totally.
And then we went out that night. Like, I didn't get tired.
I
It
know.
was the weirdest thing. I had
Yeah,
all
that
this
was
adrenaline.
crazy. Yeah.
Anyway.
But that does happen after like big days, even like big weddings too. It's like you do have all this adrenaline you're running off of.
Yeah.
And then you need to recover for like days after.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I got home and crashed for
Oh,
like
yeah.
a week. But
Yeah.
anyway, we live to tell the tale.
For real. I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but they have like, I think it's like one day out of the month where things go on strike. So I had that when I was traveling to my wedding. It was either Sorrento or Lake Como. But I was stressing because we already had so many flight delays, and I was stressing that I was even going to get to the bride on time. And then when my connecting flight was supposed to be, just happened to be the 2-hour window of when the airline went on strike. So we had to like reroute the entire, it was insane. Such a wild thing, but you just figure it out.
Yeah,
And,
you figure it out. And like Amsterdam, I think we ended up pushing the class back an hour.
Yeah.
But everyone understood.
Yes.
This is what I've learnt with traveling, is that if you ask for help or you're very honest with people about your situation, people will help you out and they'll
Totally.
understand.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. You have to be the type of person that will ask for help.
Yes. It really pushes you out of your comfort zone.
100%.
Like you just can't have any reservations about anything. You just got to ask when you need it.
Yeah.
And most likely there's always going to be someone there to help you.
Yeah. But it can be scary traveling alone. We had so many questions from people about destination weddings. None of this is in order. We're just going to jump straight into it. There was like quite a few repeat questions, but one of the main ones, which I still think is hard for a lot of people to understand, is do your brides cover your flight and all of your travel expenses? And this is, especially for those that aren't in the industry, it's hard to believe.
Yes.
Like I remember when I started doing this, my mum couldn't believe that people would pay to fly me in,
Right.
that people had the budgets to do so and then would even bother. And even when I met my husband, he was like, oh, it's really cool what you do, but isn't there makeup artists in Italy? Like, why are they flying you in?
Yeah.
Yes, the bride does cover everything. For me, at least, I charge return flights, accommodation.
Yeah.
I charge a travel fee for transportation in between, whether that's a car hire or taxis or Ubers, depending on where I am. I charge a fee for meals every day because that can get really expensive, especially if you're working somewhere like Mexico where, everything's in US dollars, or like Europe, everything's in euros.
Yeah.
So you have to account for that. I charge an extra fee for extra luggage. Like my luggage is always overweight. And then on top of that, they're paying my makeup rate as well.
Yep.
Now, what I'll say is that in the beginning of my career, like the first year of destinations, it wasn't like that. And I have talked about this in one of my other episodes. My first destination wedding, she paid my makeup rate, but I got myself there.
Yeah.
I always say doing destinations is kind of like going back to the beginning of your career when you would discount jobs and you would do things a bit cheaper than you normally would just to get the work.
Yes.
Right?
And the content too, right? Like it's
Totally.
like we all want that wedding to be able to post because it kind of snowballs from there. Like you get one and then usually more inquiries come in because people are seeing that you do travel.
Yeah, like you use it as a marketing thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't get me wrong, like I was getting paid, but was I getting paid enough? No.
Yeah.
Not all of my travel was covered.
Yeah.
Either they were covering all the travel or they were paying my makeup rate, but not both.
Totally.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I moved around a lot and like you say, I got the content. I used it as like a big marketing year for me essentially.
For sure.
But what that did was get me in front of brides that actually would pay the money,
Yes.
you know, and had the budgets to do it.
I feel like that's a big misconception in doing destination weddings because I think that a lot of times it looks online that you get one and right off the bat, it's like more just going to keep coming. But you kind of do have to like take a little bit of a step back and do like the year, or maybe not a full year, but like you do have to do a couple of the first ones, maybe not at the full rate of what you will charge eventually, but know that you further in the long run, right?
Yep.
Like you know it's going to lead into you being able to do that full time.
Yeah.
I know I've talked to some artists who aren't willing to like work around that budget, or maybe like you're just breaking even on the first one or whatnot.
Yeah.
For example, one of the first ones I did, it was in Barbados. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to make a trip out of it. So I kind of like, okay, this is my vacation for the year type of thing. And I just extended it and went from there. But I also knew like, okay, I'm going to use this as my marketing, like content for the future. It goes from that. But you do have to be willing to put yourself out there to get more in the long run.
Totally. And you do have to dip into your pocket a bit in the beginning.
Yes.
It's like, you know, if you want to work on set or you want to work with celebrities, like you're going to work for free.
Yeah.
Initially
Yeah.
to get that job, right? So it's
Totally.
the exact same with destination weddings. But
Totally.
then yes, you do get to a point where if you know your content's good and your marketing's good and all of that's aligned, then you will attract those ideal brides that will pay for you, you know.
Yes.
And a lot of people say they can't believe that these brides are spending this money to fly a makeup artist out, but it's like a lot of these brides that have these luxury weddings, the weddings are costing $1 million.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So the
Yeah.
rate that they're paying us, like it's still a great rate, but what they're paying the photographer is probably 10 times more.
Totally.
What they're paying the videographer. Do you know what I mean? So
I also think it honestly comes down to, in my personal experience, like my brides have told me that a lot of times they want to fly you out because they want someone who they're going to trust and is part of the vibe for the wedding morning.
100%.
Like, that is one thing I feel like is not talked about enough in our
Yeah.
industry, is like, I always want to be that calming energy for my brides, but also like I want to bring fun to the morning, you
it's
know?
a personality thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I know that a lot of my brides that have brought me places, it's beyond the makeup. It's more because we've connected personally. Even if it's just a phone call or something, you
Yeah.
know, but it's like you can feel good energy and you know when you vibe with someone, right?
Yeah.
And like the worst thing I think is if you're spending so much on this luxurious wedding, like destination wedding, and then
Yeah.
you get there and you're working with a local vendor who doesn't fit the vibe.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And like that's setting you out for your entire rest of your day.
And different style as well.
Yeah.
Right? Like a lot of these
Totally.
American brides and Australian brides, they have a style and an aesthetic that they want. They want someone that they're comfortable with. They want someone that they're confident in.
Yes.
That will deliver that.
100%.
You know, so
Yeah.
to them, a lot of people forget that like a wedding day is the one day that a bride will spend whatever because it's a one day.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's two. Sometimes we get a second chance.
You never know.
But for the most part, it's one time.
Yeah.
So if they have the money and they want someone bad enough,
Yeah.
they're going to pay for it. This is a really good question. Someone asked, do you charge travel days? So these are days that you're traveling that you're not actually working. And I get asked this all the time. I think this is a very personal thing.
Yeah.
Because me personally, I don't charge travel days because I earn passive income. I have
Right.
other income streams. I'm making money while I'm traveling.
Yeah.
Right? For someone that has a studio, for example,
Yeah.
and is busy and is getting clients every day in the studio and has to actually leave the studio to go and travel to do a destination wedding, they're losing money.
Right.
And I understand that.
Yeah.
So I really think this is a personal thing. It depends on your situation. So if you are someone who is maybe doing a bit of content creation on the side, has some other forms of income, obviously the bride's more likely to book you if she doesn't have to pay the travel days.
Yeah.
But again, going back to what I said before, if they want you bad enough, they will pay whatever.
Totally.
So if you have to charge your travel days, then do it. What do you do?
I was just going to say, I think it also comes down to knowing what we want out of it. Because it's like, if you really want to get into destination weddings and doing destination weddings all the time, then like for myself, that's what I see for my future, is doing mainly just destination. In that case, I don't charge travel days because I know they're more likely to book me if I don't charge that. Plus, the way I've set up my year, it's so that I can be very mobile. Like, I don't have any ties keeping me in Toronto.
Yes.
And I did that very deliberately so that I can be away. And let's say I am going somewhere for a bride, like, okay, I'm going to stay a couple extra days then and just live there for the week or whatever. But I did that intentionally. And I think that's one thing that not everyone can do. Like you said, if you have a studio or if you have something you're losing out on costs, of course, you have to cover that. So I understand that part of it. But if you think long term and like what you are looking to do for the future, I feel like that's what will help you decide.
Yeah. It's a lifestyle thing. It really depends on your lifestyle.
Totally.
And I think I operate like you. I'm a little less hippie than you. I don't move around as much these days. I have a home now.
I know. Talk to me after this year. I might be giving it up, okay? Maybe I'll want to be stationary somewhere.
But yeah, it is a lifestyle thing. So I think that's personal. Someone asked how to quote for travel. So I have a process which filters out a lot of people. So people inquire through my website. Automatically, I send them back my price guides. I have an automation in my website.
Oh, okay.
My prices are not on my website. They have to inquire. But automatically, my website goes back to them and says, hey, this is my price guide.
Yeah.
On top of this, you'll be charged travel. If you're still interested, come back to us and we'll give you a quote. So that kind of weeds out the time wasters, right?
Yes.
Because they're already looking at my makeup rate.
Yeah.
We all know what I charge. I charge $600 per person. So they're already seeing that.
Yeah.
And then they're going, oh, okay. So on top of that, she's charging travel too.
Right.
So they get an understanding of what this is going to cost.
Yeah, for sure.
So the ones that then come back to me and say, hey, Kelsey, I'm really interested. I want a quote. Then I will literally go in and look at the location. Where is it?
Yeah.
Look up flights. Once you start moving around the world, you start to understand how much things cost, right?
Yes.
So like in the beginning, I was looking up flights and accommodation and car hire and like researching how much is this trip going to cost me. Now I can go, boom, okay, we're going to Tuscany. We need a car. But it has to be an Airbnb. There's no hotels.
Yes.
Like, do you know what I mean? I know how to just like pump it out.
For sure.
But when you're starting out, it's literally researching.
Yeah.
But so that you're not in front of your laptop all day doing that with every inquiry you get, I do like that automation process where you kind of send them the price guide first.
Yeah.
Give them a little taste of what it's going to cost, and then the serious ones will come back to you.
Yeah.
And then I just quote out one travel fee. So I don't really list everything out, but I will say to them, hey, travel is going to be $6,000 for this job. And then I'll put in brackets, this includes return flight, 3 nights accommodation, meals, and car hire.
Okay.
So they know.
Yeah, I've kind of started doing that this year as well. But before I was separating everything and really researching it all, just so they could see it broken down on the quote.
Yeah.
But now I prefer to do it that way too. Because there's always going to be extra costs that you incur when you're traveling too.
Always.
But you realize that the more you travel as well.
Yes.
So I think it's just easier to kind of give a ballpark. And there might be a job where there's extra charges that you didn't account for. But then on the next one, sometimes it balances out a little bit,
so true.
you know?
I've met some wedding vendors who tally up all of their travel and then ask the brides to reimburse them after the wedding. I don't like that at all.
Yeah.
I would rather get my money in advance.
Yeah.
If I go over on travel, that's on me. And I'm not going to
Yes.
charge back the bride and be like, hey, babe, the taxi costs a bit more. Like, can you, like, no, that's on me.
Totally.
It's my problem.
Totally.
But I don't ever want to chase someone for money after the job.
I agree.
And I did have a bride a few years ago and she paid me up front and everything was fine, but the hairdresser was waiting on reimbursements and was chasing her and having a hard time getting a hold of her. So I just would rather get the money up front. It's so much
100%.
easier.
I also think too, it's like when you start to nickel and dime everything, it takes away from the experience in my eyes. Like
Yeah.
I want a bride to know that you're flying me out. I appreciate that. I'm not going to be putting on $5 for like an extra whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you get to these jobs and the brides, honestly, people always think that destination brides or these high-end brides must be bridezillas. They're not.
No.
They are the most gracious,
Amazing.
like calm, ideal clients. Because
Totally.
I think when you're spending that kind of money, you know what you want.
Yes.
And you're not going to drop that money unless you're 100% sure that you want that person. So
Yeah.
they're so confident in us when we get here.
Yes.
That, yeah, you kind of want to do a favor for them.
For sure.
Like, I've definitely stayed back on destinations that I wasn't necessarily paid to do touch-ups. But, like,
Yeah.
I'm so grateful that she's paid me to be there. She's been amazing. The vibe's great. I'm going to help her out. You know?
Totally. It's all situational, obviously, because not every place you are able to do that. But whenever I can go above and beyond for any bride, especially destination, because there's such a different level of it added to it, right? They've literally flown you out here. They trust you so much. Like, you want to go above and beyond to make their day as special as you can.
Exactly.
Yeah. And they see the value in us. We want to like prove that to them too, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And they appreciate it as well, you know.
For sure.
Someone's asked, is traveling alone scary? And we did touch on this a little bit before, but I think that it is worth talking about because there's things that I do that I feel like I need to do as a woman when I'm traveling alone that like, I don't know, you don't really hear talked about much.
Totally.
So I think this is really important, but traveling alone is scary. Like for me, I think I'm more scared than you. You're very relaxed about
no fear.
some things and it freaks me out. I'm a scaredy cat. And it's funny because I don't like being home alone, you know? So my family is like, this is crazy that this girl does what she does because I'm petrified in everyday life.
Yeah.
I like pushing myself out of my comfort zone and I love to travel. So I force myself to do it because the reward is worth it, right?
Yes.
But my first couple of years of traveling destination weddings, I was on my own. No one was with me. I was literally going through Greece and Italy and Scotland and everywhere on my own. I got trains on my own. I stayed in Airbnbs. I stayed in shitty hotels in Greece where there was like no manager, like some random guy off the street let me in, you know, like I've had moments where I'm like, I can't believe I got out alive.
Yeah.
And there's this one story where I booked this Airbnb in Tuscany. It was one of my first weddings in Tuscany and I wanted the whole eat, pray, love moment.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how remote it was, but it was an Airbnb out in Tuscany. It looked stunning online. But when I got there, and like you would know now that we've been to Tuscany a few times, everything's really remote in Tuscany.
Yes. I did not realize that.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So I didn't have a car. I had a taxi drop me off at this Airbnb.
Oh my gosh.
And it took us 20 kilometers to get to this Airbnb.
Oh my God.
And I got there and the guy running the Airbnb was like this old man. And by all means, like he could have been great. Like he could have been lovely. Like who knows? He's probably a dad, a grandfather. Like I don't know. Like probably has a bunch of daughters. Like whatever.
Totally.
When you get somewhere and you just have that feeling.
Yeah.
That's what I've learned to trust traveling alone.
Yes.
Like if you have that gut feeling that something is not right.
Get out.
Get the fuck out of there.
Yeah. It's not worth it.
And I swear by that as a woman traveling alone. So that was a moment where I remember messaging my mum and just saying, I don't feel good. But again, ultimately you're on your own, right? So you have to sit with yourself and think like, okay, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
And I just thought, you know what? I need to get the hell out of here. So I packed my bags. I left. I lost the money from the Airbnb and I went and found a hotel in a town that had a bit more going on. And that's when I learned that I was never going to stay in Airbnbs again.
Yeah.
Because you just never really know what to expect with an Airbnb.
Totally.
Like it can look beautiful online, but you can get there and feel really, really unsafe.
Yeah.
So my rule for traveling alone is hotels only. On the odd occasion, I might do have we done an Airbnb?
Yeah, we did. We actually did Airbnb in Tuscany the last time. As we're talking about this.
Okay,
we trusted it
did.
again. But it was in the middle of the town.
It was in the middle of town.
Like it was super safe.
Yeah.
The cellar was a little dingy.
But right, it was creepy.
Yeah, that was creepy.
This is what I mean. It's like, yes, okay, I will do the Airbnb thing if I'm with someone else.
Yeah, that's totally different.
But rarely. I'd still prefer a hotel.
Right.
But I made sure when I booked that we were in the town.
Yes.
So there's people around.
And it was a great location, yeah.
It was a great location. However, they had this weird cellar which is like, I don't know if a cellar's that weird, but to us, there was this hole in the ground with stairs and it was pitch black.
Pitch black and like cold. It's just a creepy cellar. Like,
And then what about in the middle of the night when the air conditioner exploded?
Oh my God, yeah. And didn't the alarm go, like an alarm was going on?
There's just always something with Airbnb.
I kind of forgot this all happened.
Yeah.
And checking into that place even
was a nightmare.
We had to go to it worked out well for us. We got wine and cheese.
Wine.
It was amazing. But yeah, you're like checking in at like a winery.
And then they drive you to the Airbnb.
Yeah,
and
we had to leave our car elsewhere. Like it was an interesting check-in process.
Yeah.
So like if you're doing that, you have to be prepared for anything when you're doing these kinds of jobs.
For me, traveling alone is scary.
Yeah.
I don't like catching trains on my own. I don't really do public transport anymore, to be honest,
Same.
in foreign countries. I'd prefer to get a driver or to get my own car.
100%.
Or I try and just fly directly to where I've got to go.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But for the most part, I'm booking hotels. That's my thing. Like, I want a security guard at the front door.
Yeah.
What about you?
I should have a bit more fear because I will still do Airbnbs. And this is coming from someone like I've been robbed in an Airbnb before. So it's like, I don't know why I don't have that fear afterwards. But I think my mentality is like, this stuff can happen anywhere. Like Airbnb that I got robbed in was in Miami. So it's like that's relatively safe area you think you're going to, right? When I look at that compared to like other places that I've stayed where it should be considered like more unsafe, and I felt totally safe there over a place like Miami. You know what I mean? So you just have to be prepared for everything.
Yeah.
I will say I am very confident and self-assured when I'm traveling. So I feel like if I give off that vibe, like this, when you're talking about the gut feeling, the second I have that, it's like something triggers inside of me. And I feel like I give that aura of like, don't mess with me.
I think as a woman in general, if you have that feeling in your gut, get out of there. Like,
totally.
You know, we
Listen
are like,
to that
our
always.
intuition is so strong.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't like to ignore my intuition.
Well, I feel like we've talked about this. You were maybe the same way, but I've ignored it for so long that now it's so strong. Like, even if it's the slightest little bit, I'm like, nope, I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
And I will get out. And that's one point I was going to add to when you said you like lost the money for your Airbnb, you're like, I don't care, I just want to be safe. I think that's one thing you have to be prepared for going into these destination weddings is like at any point something could happen and you might need to just be like, I'm going to eat that cost so that I can be safe.
So true.
If you don't have that mentality, I think things can get a lot harder for you. It goes back to like if you're nickel and diming things, that's when I think things can get a bit compromised.
That's so true. And actually someone has asked about profit versus cost and if you actually make money doing destinations.
Yeah.
So I love that you brought that up because yes, I've had moments where I've missed my connecting flight on the way home because of a delay. So in order for me to get home that night, I've booked myself another flight.
Yes.
I'm not charging the bride back.
Exactly.
So I'm paying $800 to get myself home. Am I bitter about that? No.
Yeah.
Because I understand that it's part of it.
For sure.
And I'm getting so much more out of doing these destinations in terms of like, you know, the marketing we get. I know the next client I get from that content is going to be incredible. It's all just part of it. So I think you really have to have an open mind
100%.
if you want to do this.
This might be controversial, but I think if you are doing destination wedding, your motivation shouldn't be for the money. It's kind of to build on to that, you know? It's like what you were saying, you have the passive income to be able to not have to charge for the travel days, right?
Yeah.
Personally, when I'm booking destination weddings, it's like, of course, I want to make money, but that's not my main goal with it. It's more for the experience.
Yeah, 100%. I think the easiest answer in terms of like, do you actually make money doing destination weddings? I think the answer is no.
Yeah. I think
really
I
think
actually
it's no.
agree. I agree.
A local wedding is way more profitable.
Totally.
If I do a wedding up the road and I'm charging $600 per person, I'm driving 10 kilometers. Obviously, these brides cover accommodation.
Yes.
You do profit, right? But there's so many jobs where you end up dipping into your own pocket.
Totally.
Is my point.
And when you're working at home, let's say, it's like, you could do 7-8 weddings in a weekend if you really wanted to. Like if you wanted to be booked back to back to back, you can do that. So you are making more money if you're just staying local to one place.
Yeah. So then what's the reason we do destinations?
I just love to travel.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'll ever give it up.
Yeah. And
if I can travel,
they're fun.
Yeah. If I can travel for something that I love to do, that's like the cherry on top.
Yeah, I do it because they're fun and the clients are amazing.
Totally.
It's a different vibe to a local wedding.
Yeah.
I think everyone's more excited.
Yes.
Because a lot of times the whole family and all of the friends have flown in.
Yeah.
Everyone's in such a good mood.
Yeah.
Like everyone's just happy to be there.
Because everyone's spending money to be there. So it's like you're only doing that for someone you truly care about and love, right? And I also think it goes beyond, like we were saying earlier, a lot of my destination brides, I end up just staying like the day and doing these full day touch-ups. And it's just so beautiful to see them surrounded by like their loved ones. Like I love love. So I just love seeing someone that I've connected with personally, receiving that love and giving that love to the people around them, you know? So seeing that and hearing all the nice things people are saying, even hearing some of the speeches, it just ends up being this beautiful day and they become like your friends afterwards.
They
like,
really do.
I feel like I gained so many besties with my destination brides. You know, even brides at home too, but just different when you're spending more time. And usually destination brides is also multiple days. They have the welcome party or rehearsal or whatnot.
Yeah, you spend the whole weekend with them.
Yeah. And you're running into them on the resort or, you know, in the
intimate.
town.
It's very intimate.
Yeah. It's really special.
Yeah, it is special. Okay, my most asked question as a destination makeup artist, still to this day, is how do you pack your kit? And I've shared so many videos. Every trip that I do, I share a new video, a new carousel. Literally. I have so much content on it, but people are still very confused by it.
Yeah.
I've got a whole thing down pat now, but I want to hear about how you pack your kit.
I am chaotic when I pack my kit.
I bet you are.
Just like every other aspect of my life. I am doing it the night before. Like I have everything mentally prepped.
Yeah.
Obviously, we know what we need.
You were very organized for this trip.
Actually, yes.
Writing notes and
but
whatnot,
okay, I'm normally
making reservations.
I'm like that though. I'm organized, but like actually physically being organized is different. You know, I have all my notes app. I know exactly what I'm doing each day.
Yeah.
But I always leave packing till the very last second, and I always know I'll get it done.
Yeah. You always pack more than me.
Yes.
I'm always going to Jess, like, do you have a hairbrush,
Yeah.
hairspray? Like, I forget to pack that stuff.
I'm a severe overpacker.
Yeah, you
The
have
thought
everything.
about being without my things, it sends me.
Yeah.
I need everything with me.
Oh, God.
But yeah, I have my process. I guess I have my 2 kits and I know what I need. It's just more so differentiating. Like you have all the range of the smaller like foundations and whatnot. I haven't really condensed that part of it. So
Yeah.
that's one thing like going forward I definitely want to improve on.
Yeah, you're traveling with the Lancome glass
Oh,
bottles.
yes.
Yeah,
it's heavy.
that
It's
gives
a
me
lot.
anxiety.
I know. I know. But we kind of know like the skin tones that we're working with prior to going into it.
I know, I
so-
mean the glass bottles.
Yeah, I know. But I'm saying that a bigger range.
Yeah.
I need to condense it.
Yeah.
For sure. But, we just throw them in a good old Ziploc bag and put them in the checked bags. And
Yeah.
they're fine.
I think people are scared about checking their makeup kit because of fear of it being lost. So for this particular job, I shared how I packed my kit. And the way that I packed it was I dumped everything into one bag. I used to do the whole separate creams, separate powders, take the powders as carry-on. And check the rest. However, when you travel as much as I do, you don't want to be carting around a carry-on suitcase.
Yeah.
I don't want anything in my hands besides my purse. When you're running through airports, you want to be light. And it's one more thing I have to think about.
Yeah.
Like, don't forget the suitcase.
That's
Don't
true.
leave it at the cafe or like whatever.
Yeah.
I used to separate the creams and the powders. It just got too annoying. So now I dump everything into my Etoile Pro suitcase.
Yes.
I do have a really current video of this on my TikTok that you can go and check out. But I show you exactly how I pack everything. Creams, powders, brushes, the whole shebang in one bag. And
It
I
looks
check
so
it.
perfect.
You can't take that bag on carry-on.
No, there's no way.
So I check it.
Yeah.
And when I shared that, people freaked out because they're like, aren't you scared that your luggage is going to get lost?
That's actually kind of the last thing I worry about. Like, I know it's obviously a fear, but I still do separate my creams and my powders for the most part. But truly, it's more because I don't want my powders to break. Like, that's my fear.
Yeah,
over
that's what I'd be
losing
scared of as well.
my luggage.
Yes.
Right? Because I think, like, yes, of course there's that risk. But think about how many times you and I have traveled. I've only ever lost my luggage one time, and it was when I was way younger. Like,
Yeah. Well, this is what I said to someone on Instagram today. She was like, oh my gosh, I could never check my kid. And I'm like,
Right.
I've been traveling, doing this for 5 years now. Touch wood.
yeah, right?
I've never lost my bag.
Yeah.
And I honestly think it's rare. Like, I
Yes.
think we know there's
People are going to come for us in the comments.
there's scenarios where it can happen. I'm aware of that.
Yeah.
It's quite rare.
Yeah.
You have your tags, you have the barcodes. If you have an air tag, like it's pretty rare that you'll actually lose your luggage, especially if it's a one-way flight. If you're doing connecting flights, I understand the fear a little bit more.
Yeah, that's a bit different. And again, when it goes back to my fear of like the powders breaking and stuff, especially when it's connecting, I think about that as well. I'm like, okay, it's going to be handled like 3 or 4 times
Yeah.
or whatever
Yeah.
the amount, when they're switching the bags. So again, my fear isn't it being lost. It's more about my powders breaking and not being able to replace them when I get there.
Yeah. But when you
So-
travel, also you get to know what brands are flimsy. Like
True.
there's one brand, and we're not going to call out any brands here today, but there is one that
Yes.
every time I've carried their stuff, it breaks. And so I don't do it anymore.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
true.
carry glass bottles for that reason. I used to carry Giorgio Armani, and I had a hell of an explosion one time.
I
And
gotta replace
never
my
done it
Lancome.
again. So yeah, there's little things like that. I take minis, like my setting spray is a mini setting spray. I
Yeah.
try and pack smaller because I don't depot or decant anything. I take full
Same.
size.
Yeah.
So I try and take the travel sizes if I can.
Yes.
Mainly with creams and skincare.
Totally. And even just, going more towards palettes and whatnot. Like,
Just
I know you have
condensing.
yeah, exactly. When I was condensing my foundations into those little tubes that like a lot of artists use, that's actually what was exploding on
they
me
explode.
more. Yeah. So then
'Cause they're
I
cheap.
that's why I was like, I'd rather just take the full bottle.
It's not
Plus
worth
they
it.
look better too.
They look so much nicer.
Right?
I mean, some people don't care about that stuff, but
I do.
I do as well.
I'm like, I
They
can't.
look- it
I
looks
also
so
just
much
can't be
nicer.
bothered to be condensing everything like
I
that.
can't be
Like,
bothered. Like on my
no.
day off, I'm not going to sit around and
Right?
scrape makeup out of.
No.
I've tried. I've done it. Don't get me wrong.
Yes.
And I was like, never again.
Right?
Like I got so
We
angry.
learned our
I had
lesson.
products under my fingernails.
Oh
and,
my
like,
God, yeah.
It was a disaster.
Yeah.
Anyway,
messy.
whatever you need to do, but I think there is a way of condensing full-size products. I think it's just also knowing your products really well. I think there's makeup artists out there, they're obsessed with products and product launches. They buy everything.
Yes.
And like for those people, I think it would be hard to condense.
Yes.
Whereas like I'm a creature of habit. I stick to what I know. I use the same products on everyone.
Yeah.
And that helps.
Yeah, it's more like minimalism because when you are traveling for these weddings, you realize you don't need as much as we think we need.
You really
like
don't.
back home, my kit is crazy when I'm traveling just to Toronto weddings. And when I come here, I'm like, why do I lug all of that around? Like you really don't use it all.
Yeah, it just sits there.
Yeah.
Okay, there's been a few questions on how to get into destination weddings and what advice you'd give someone to break into destinations if this is something they want to do. What's something that you feel like helped you the most when you decided you wanted to start doing destinations? Like what was it that you did to start booking work?
I think it goes back to what we were talking about earlier too. Like you have to be kind of willing to maybe do the first like 2, 3 and know that maybe you're not profiting on it, but that you're using it for future marketing, right? I wanted to showcase that I will travel for my brides. My very first one I got super lucky with. I had 2 in the same year and it was Barbados and Sorrento. I think Sorrento came first. And that wedding was just like incredible. And she was just such an angel bride and her family went like above and beyond. So I think I had a very great first experience that I was like, I need to do more of these, you know? From that, I was like, I'm going to do whatever in my power to get as many as I can to keep pumping out this content.
But how did you get that first one? Like how did you get to Toronto?
That is a great question because I speak on this to everyone. I feel like the way that my business has taken off has really been like connection based. So she was actually someone that I knew from high school and we didn't really stay in touch, but you know, we still had each other on Instagram and whatnot. And we always kept up with each other's lives, but weren't really like speaking to each other. And then randomly she just reached out because she knew I was doing the makeup full time. And we reconnected. And then from there, I just kind of started doing all of her events. And then when it came time for her wedding, she's like, yeah, you're coming with me, you know? And it's because I feel like, again, for me, it went beyond makeup. It was building a relationship with my clients, which I really try to do with each and every one of my clients.
Yeah.
And like most of my destination weddings have been that way. Like even if they found me through social media or even word of mouth or whatever it was establishing that connection first that gave them that confidence to be like, yeah, I need her at that with me on my big day.
Yeah. And one thing about you, I will say, is you're an in-person networker.
Oh,
like
thank
you are really good at getting in rooms and putting yourself out there.
Yeah, I do love to do that.
More so than content.
Oh.
This is interesting, actually. No, I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that I believe what you're saying, that your jobs have come from in-person referrals. I can see that because you prioritize that over content.
100%, to the point where I leave content sitting on my phone for years.
Which we're going to talk about.
Oh no.
Because someone else has
I'm
asked.
about to get roasted by Kelsey.
Someone else has asked, how do you market yourself as a destination? And you know what? We do it differently. So I think this is going to be a really good insight because, as you know, I'm the content queen.
Yes.
And I'm all about content.
Yeah.
Whereas like you have kind of built this career a little differently to me.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of yours has come through connections and past clients and getting in rooms.
Yes. I won't be that person that the first thing out of my mouth is I'm a makeup artist. I was even saying to you earlier how I was kind of turned off by telling people I was a makeup artist for a couple of years because I just didn't really want to talk about work when I wasn't working because I wanted that to disconnect a little bit. But then I started realizing there's a way that you can say it without it feeling salesy. I just felt like sometimes it felt like so salesy and like I just didn't want it to come across that way.
Yeah.
And now when there's the opportunity, I love to talk about it because I feel like too maybe that block is kind of gone for me as well.
Yeah.
Where now I feel more confident to talk about it with just anybody. I'll try to find something else to connect with somebody on before I kind of go into talking about like what we do. And anywhere that we go, I just kind of like to find things out about people. Like I'm a very curious person. Like anyone that I meet, I'm just so interested by people's lives.
Yeah.
And with that,
You're a very live in the moment type person.
totally.
And I love that about you. You have a very relaxed nervous system because of the fact that you don't care about content as much as I do.
Right.
Like you value in-person stuff. You make the most of the in-person stuff and then you just shut off at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I kind of like that about you, to be honest.
I
I know
need a
that you want to
balance.
get better at content and all of that, but like, I mean, you're doing it anyway without it, right?
For
so
sure.
like, do you have to stress yourself about the content? I don't know.
I think also too, everyone grows at their own rate. Like that was a big one for me is I'm 31. I'm going to be 32 this year. And I think in this industry, it can be very easy to be like, oh, you know, like I'm getting older, everyone else, maybe they're 10 years younger and they're killing it and they're doing like, I just love to see people succeeding. And if that inspiration is coming from someone 10 years younger than me, like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Everyone grows at their own rates. And for someone that's able to do it at such a young age, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Like for myself, for example, I started doing makeup, I think it was like 18 or 19. So it was young. But I've been doing this for so long, and I just now feel like I'm at a point where like, okay, this is my year. Like now I'm ready to grow. So yes, the content, you know, it's going to be balanced out. It's coming out. For me, it was more important to follow where my heart needed to go, or, you know, I just kind of let that intuition, I let that guide me. And now I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, I've done all the other stages in life. Now I'm ready to go full in on the business and grow in a way that I probably wouldn't have done it in the same way 5 years ago. You know?
Yeah. You have to be in the right place mentally, like emotionally, all of that.
And you have to be able to give yourself that grace to tell yourself, like, it's okay. Like, everyone has their own time frames, you
Everyone's
know?
on their own journey.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, I saw Selena Makeup from Toronto make a post the other day. She just hit 100K on YouTube. This is totally unrelated to destination weddings, but her post was like, I'm 41 and I just hit 100K on YouTube. Like,
wow.
So don't ever let age or someone else's time frame dictate yours. Like, we all do things differently.
Totally.
But I do think that's the most fascinating thing about your career, is that it is very based on you getting in rooms. Like, that's how we met. That's how you came to Tuscany and Amsterdam. That's how we're friends, because you decided to buy a ticket and get into a room.
Totally.
As opposed to like what I do, which is like posting 11 reels of my my wedding to help me book the next one.
But hey,
you know?
like that is so inspiring. And that's where it's like finding that balance, right? Because I truly do think, because of how I built my business, is like I really want to always be present in the moment. But there is a time where it's like, okay, now it's time to like carve out maybe that 2-3 hours, get the content done, and then go back to being present again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Have you
like,
carved out those hours
you
while
know,
we've been here?
we're still working on that. Okay, I prioritize sleep, I think.
So last night, I'm trying to explain to Jess that with content, I don't want to force you to be a content creator, because like I said, you're doing a great job without it. But like, I just like try and teach her some little things here and there. We were talking about Instagram stories and like sharing the journey of being on a destination wedding and whatnot. Yeah. And so last night, we're about to go to bed. I'm getting ready to do my Instagram stories, because that's what I do at the end of the day. Jess is half asleep. And I'm like, excuse me, have you got your Instagram stories up?
Before coming on this trip, Kelsey sent me a meme, and it was like, what did it even say? It was so
It was like
funny.
normal people getting ready for bed, and it was like a person like, if you're listening on audio, you can't see what I'm doing, but like basically getting ready to sleep.
Like sleeping peacefully.
Like, sleeping peacefully. And then it was like content creators going to bed. And it was like this
makeup
chick,
down, you're
makeup
running down the
everywhere,
face.
hair's out here. She's like got her phone in front of her eyes, and like that is us. Like when we sleep together, Jessica falls asleep in like 15 seconds flat. She's out, and I'm there on my phone editing for the next 3 fucking hours.
Oh my gosh. But I truly was not always like that. And I think that's what it all comes into play, is working on my nervous system to be able to get to that. Now I feel like so much more alert in all aspects of my life. Yeah. Because I prioritize that, and now I'm like, okay, now I know I'm getting the rest. Now we're going to work on...
You have a beautiful nervous system. I told my therapist about you.
You did?
I'm like, I've got this friend, and
I feel so seen.
Yeah, I'm like, her aura is just so beautiful. And when she goes to bed, she falls asleep right away.
Like, I want that.
I'm like, that's my dream. How can we get there?
The key was being overstimulated for most of my life. And, you know, now we're trying to work our way out of it. But I got out of it.
I mean, that's the goal, like a relaxed nervous system. So I love that for you. But anyways, I was like helping her with her Instagram stories and just saying that, you know, just because someone asked how to market yourself as a destination wedding vendor. So the way I approach it is by taking people along the journey with me.
Yes.
So rather than just popping up in Mexico, which is sometimes what you do. Yeah. Sometimes I don't know where you are, because one of your posts is you're in New York, the next year in Mexico, then blah, blah, blah.
To be fair, that is what happened this time, though.
You are jumping around. Like, I get it. But I want to make it clear to my followers what I'm doing and where I'm going, and take them along the journey. Yes. So, like, I share everything from packing my kit, going to the airport, checking into the hotel, actually going back to safety. Don't love to share the hotel that I'm staying at. Yes. I won't necessarily say the name until afterwards. Like, I might film in the hotel, but I'm not going to broadcast where I'm staying, especially if I'm alone. Then, meeting my bride, doing the trial, doing the wedding, packing up, going home, the end.
Yes.
Like that's the story.
Yeah.
And when you follow the story, it's really easy because I know you get really overstimulated by content and it gets really overwhelming for you. You don't know what to post.
Yeah.
But if you just think of it like that, it's just a story and you're taking people along the journey with you, it becomes a lot easier.
But you know what? It does, but kind of in turn as well. I feel like sometimes I get so fixated on like telling the whole journey that if I'm missing a little portion of it, it throws me for a whole loop. And I'm like, oh my God, well now I can't post anything because I missed that one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's almost like I just overthink it to the death.
Yes.
And then I just give up.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. Like today we forgot to finish our vlog.
Yeah.
So it's like, well...
But you'll still salvage. That's the thing. You
yeah.
always salvage any type of content. You'll find a piece that you can make work.
Yes.
I have to get better at learning how to do that.
Yeah.
Because it's true. It's like there are times where it's just out of your control. Maybe you just can't always be on, or sometimes you forget, or things get busy. Like
you're tired. You want to just get out of there.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, like our main priority is our bride, right? Making sure she's good and happy before we walk away from anything. So sometimes there truly just isn't a moment for us to get the content, or maybe the background wasn't great, the lighting wasn't great, but you kind of just have to figure out what you can make work from that content.
Yeah, you might have a content plan, but sometimes you've got to pivot.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also I just think my whole thing with content this year is just not overthinking it. And I know it's easier said than done, but literally document instead of create. Document what you're already doing.
Yeah, I love that.
When I do that, when I have that approach, my audience is more locked in. I've made curated content in the past.
Yeah.
Like it's me setting up the tripod and doing something for the camera.
Right.
An example of that would be like my aesthetic kit videos.
Yes.
Like I'm doing it very delicately so it looks good on camera and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Whereas recently I just posted a kit video where I'm talking to the camera for 10 minutes while I'm packing my kit.
Yeah.
In a very organic way.
Yeah.
And people are locked into it.
But I love that you showcase both, because I think sometimes it can be overwhelming if, let's say, maybe you're a newer artist, or, maybe you're just like so busy that you can't carve out that time to get that aesthetic content. It can be daunting sometimes if you're starting out to be like, well, then maybe I just shouldn't post at all because it's not going to look like that,
Yeah.
But it's important to recognize that there are both sides to this job.
100%.
And I feel like you're really good at being like transparent at that and like letting everyone know that it's like, you have your content days, or you book the studio, you get that aesthetic content, but then you're also going to show the realness of the job too, which is super important. And I feel like that's why like people are so gravitated towards you, because you're being authentic in that way.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
That's nice. But yeah, it's true because, we're just makeup artists at the end of the day.
Yeah.
We're just sitting on our floor, cleaning our kits
Exactly.
and, you know, cleaning the brushes, and like you have to show that stuff too. And really that's what people enjoy watching.
Yeah.
To be
lugging
honest.
the luggage up and down these stairs. How many times do we do it today?
Oh, I was going to say, like, we need to check our step count because we have done laps around this resort today.
I know.
So just while we're on the topic of content, someone has asked, what are our must-haves for recording content on these jobs? Different for everyone. Depends how into it you are.
Yeah.
I mean, on this trip, I've got the microphones, I've got the lights, I've got the tripods, I've got everything.
Yeah.
Sometimes I go to destinations and I just take my tripod. Like, you have the lights on this trip.
Yeah.
Yeah. What
Didn't
else?
even end up using them. I usually always bring my light, because that's my worst nightmare, is like being somewhere where it's too dark. And so I always bring that, my tripod, and then I'm famous for just buying all these different things that I think I need. And at the end of the day, it's usually just tripod, phone, and light.
And charger, phone charger.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
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 But other than that, it's like we were just talking about the DJI.
Yeah.
And how we both bought it. And it's like,
we don't use it.
we don't even use it, you
Yeah,
know?
we both bought a DJI vlogging camera.
Yeah.
With the hopes of being YouTube vloggers.
Listen, I love watching YouTube. I was like, I'm going to do it. This is my year. But like,
I feel like I'm to blame for that because I bought it first and then you liked it.
yeah, I loved it.
So then you went and bought it.
It's so much fun creating content for you. Like, I would rather do that than make my own content.
You are good at it.
Like, literally, if I could just, maybe I need to be a content creator. The one that doesn't post content is saying that.
No, you are. Like, you lock in on my jobs. And some of the best content I've gotten on my jobs has been with you.
Oh, yay.
You know?
It's so funny. I love getting the content, but if I could just send the raw footage.
Yes.
Like, I'll be the
it's
day
the
of.
editing you struggle with.
Totally.
Yeah.
And especially when it comes to editing myself.
Yeah. I bought that camera too. I'm probably going to sell it. I love the Canon G7X.
Yeah.
Like, if there's
So
one
good.
piece of tech that you should buy and that I encourage you to buy and that's worth the money, it's the G7X.
Yeah, I'm going to have to buy that.
Yeah, I'm going to post some photos from the wedding we did today, and the photo that I post I took on my G7X and it
So
looks
good.
filtered. Like
Yeah.
the makeup looks incredible.
Yeah.
It just takes such nice photos. Even out and about, just here in Mexico, like just the way it captures the colors of the flowers and everything, it's beautiful.
Totally.
But honestly, keep it simple with destinations. Like this is another thing. You're carrying all of this stuff as it is. Don't bog your kit down with lights. I actually don't usually travel with light.
I know, I've noticed that, and that's crazy to me.
Because for destination weddings, you're always starting later. Like, we don't do 6 a.m. weddings in Europe.
Yeah.
You know? So we always start later. I am like
noticing that.
a crazy person about lighting, and I will walk around the hotel or the Airbnb or wherever we are until I find the perfect spot. Like, remember in Tuscany?
Yes.
I went into that bathroom and I sat her on the bath.
Yeah.
You know, because it was the only good lighting. Like, I will do whatever it
Totally.
takes to find the lighting for the content. And only because I don't want to pack my lights.
Yeah.
But sometimes I will. If it's a quick trip like this one.
Right.
Yeah.
They are annoying to travel with.
They're annoying. And they're bulky. There's no slim. If someone could design that, that would be amazing. I don't know how you do it. But
I know.
Yeah, they're very chunky.
Yeah. And the tripod that comes, it's a lot.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Do you get flight anxiety? And how do you deal with that?
I used to get the worst travel anxiety in general, but I still just kept pushing myself to do it because I love the feeling of once you reach the destination, right? And I feel like that kind of took away any of the anxiety that I would have. Now, maybe it's because I worked on my nervous system so much that I don't have really any anxiety anymore. I get more anxiety about packing the night before because I always leave it till the last second. We were talking a little bit about tips earlier, but my friend gave me a tip because she was a flight attendant, and she's like, anytime you start to get anxiety, just think about, I literally do this every day for my job.
Yeah.
And like, weirdly, that just brought me some peace where I'm like, okay, if Kelsey can do this every day, I can do this, you know? But you travel so much too. And
I still have anxiety.
Yeah. So I guess it just depends.
I think your nervous system has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
Like, if you can self-regulate, then it takes that anxiety away, right? I think it all depends on your life experiences too, because I have terrible flight anxiety, and my therapist was like, tell me about your first flight. And it was this whole thing that I'd never even thought about. But my first flight, first of all, I didn't fly until I was 15 or 16 years old.
Okay.
So I'd never been on a plane.
Yeah.
By the time I flew for the first time, I was almost an adult.
Yeah.
I was very aware of what was going on.
Yeah.
I was intimidated by the airport and the people and the noises, and then got on the plane. And I feel like if you grow up on a plane as a kid, you'd be less anxious because it's like normal for you. Whereas for me, it was this huge foreign thing.
Yeah.
And I remember just starting to cry, and my auntie had to basically drag me on the flight.
Oh my gosh.
Because I didn't want to get on. That whole experience was traumatic for me, essentially.
Wait, interesting. So I have a question about this. When your anxiety comes on, it's not actually about anything happening to the plane.
No.
It's about the overstimulation of it all.
100%. So when you talk about flight anxiety, people are always like, oh, but the statistics are... And I'm like, it's not about that. Like, I'm not thinking about the plane going down or turbulence. Like, I could care less about that.
I'm thinking about the pilot going crazy and crashing the plane. Like, that's where my anxiety is going.
I am overstimulated. I'm claustrophobic. So I don't like being trapped in that vessel.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
So that's what it is for me. But I get the same, like, in a movie theater, my worst nightmare.
Right.
Having all those people crammed in one room, I don't like it.
Yeah.
So that's what it is for me. And honestly, I've tried everything for flight anxiety.
Yeah.
And
what works now?
What works now is a Valium, honey.
There we go. A nice glass of rosé. Actually, Prosecco. Prosecco is always the move on a flight.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So obviously speak to your doctor about your options.
Yes.
I'm not here to give anyone advice.
Like, we're not doctors around here.
But this is something that I was prescribed.
Yeah.
Because it was to the point that it was debilitating.
Yeah.
And I wasn't looking forward to traveling, and I didn't want to give it up.
Yes.
And I had started to avoid flights, and my therapist was like, this is avoidant behavior, and you don't want to do that, because that's when you get to the point where, like,
you're going to start shutting down.
Yeah, and I'll never get on a plane again.
Yeah.
Like, so she was like, you need to keep flying, just keep doing it, but you don't need to torture yourself.
Yeah.
Like, there's tools that can help.
For sure.
And once you start talking to people about this stuff, a lot of people are self-medicating to fly.
We'll have to try that if the anxiety comes back. Let's hope it stays at bay.
Yeah. What's one thing you want people to know about destination weddings? Because we've talked about a lot today and about how destinations can look glamorous, but what's one thing that you think people should know before they try and get into destinations?
One, I'll say I never go into a destination wedding with any expectation.
That's a really good one.
We know the venue or the hotel or wherever, like we know the vibe, but I never go in with an expectation because sometimes things are just beyond your control.
Yeah.
Sometimes, as we've talked about the travel stories, there are things that can happen prior to you even arriving at the destination that are going to set you off. And if you let those things take over, it's going to control how your entire trip goes. I've been with people traveling where one thing happens and they let it ruin the rest of the time there. So I think it's just...
I've been in that too.
Right? It's like you kind of have to just go in knowing that anything can happen.
Yeah.
And whatever happens, you just have to be resilient.
Yeah, and go with the flow.
Yeah. And truly, I feel like that's what's built my resilience and my confidence. Like traveling, especially on your own, but even just traveling in general, like it opens your eyes up in a way that you never could have imagined. And then I think also just being able to pivot when needed and to still put aside anything personally that has happened to you, let's say on the travels or whatever. Perfect example in Amsterdam. You put aside everything you just went through and you showed up for the people that paid to be at your masterclass, you know? It's the exact same thing. It's like no matter what crazy story I had with my traveling experience to get there, once I'm in the room with my bride, it's like nothing else matters.
Yeah.
She is the priority.
And don't make it their problem.
Exactly. Maybe after the fact, if they see it on our stories or whatever, we talk about it's a good laugh. But like in that moment, I never want to bring that type of energy into the room. Like that's their day. Recognize that them flying you there is like a huge opportunity.
Yeah.
And anything that happens leading up to that, you got to learn to deal with it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and you've got to have that flexibility and
Totally.
I think you just have to be open-minded.
Yes.
I really think that's all it is.
I think there are sometimes too where you might do a wedding and maybe it's not exactly what was envisioned for reasons beyond our control, right?
Yeah.
Like something as simple as lighting. Maybe the lighting wasn't there that day. And like it sucks, but at the end of the day, you can't let that take away from your in-person experience. Going back to what we were talking about, I always like to be super present in the moment because you can never get time back. That is literally the most valuable asset. So always look back on an experience and know that I truly gave it my all in person.
Yeah.
That goes beyond anything. And like, yes, it's shitty if something happens and you can't get the content out of it, but just knowing that you were present for the bride in the moment.
That's the important part.
Right.
That's what you're paid to be there
Exactly.
for. Like the content is a bonus and like we need it.
Yeah.
But
and it really does suck if you don't get it because we're talking about that's your marketing for the future.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it is a letdown. But I think that's a really good point that you brought up actually because, and it's our fault for only showing the glamorous side of it, right? And there's a reason why we don't show the negative side to destination weddings online because we have people that are paying us.
Yeah.
Like, of course, we're not going to get on there and be like, oh my God, this happened. You wouldn't believe it.
Totally.
I talk about this stuff in person with people. Like, I'll share my experiences in person.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to get online and talk about it. I'm going to share my positive experiences.
Yeah.
And for the most part, it is positive. But when you're a destination makeup artist, you're doing the same job that you would do for a local wedding.
Yeah.
You're just in a different location,
Totally.
right? So the same stuff that you experience on a local wedding, whether it be bad lighting, noisy room, all the things that set makeup artists off, too many people in the room, messy backgrounds, timing, people are arriving late, no one wants to go first. What else is there? Like, you experience all of that on destination weddings.
Exactly.
As well.
Yeah. Like, it's not just because it's destination that stuff doesn't happen.
It
like,
still
it's
happens.
for sure still happening.
And it's still triggering.
Yeah.
But like you say, you just have to be present. And sometimes I've had a few destination weddings where I haven't been able to film. Yeah. And it's been disappointing, but my mentality is like, you know what? Today I'm just going to be a makeup artist. I actually don't mind having a break from the content. I'm going to go home after this and live my life rather than sitting on my phone for 4 hours.
Totally.
So I don't mind it when those things happen. Like, it's a little bit of a letdown, but it's like, it's kind of nice to just
a bit of a break sometimes too.
Yeah, like put the tripod away.
Yeah.
You know?
Like there have been situations where it's like that. The background wasn't great. The lighting wasn't great. I couldn't get the content I wanted. But then it's like, you know what? Maybe we'll jump on a story after and just talk about the wedding or can still somehow get something out of it.
There's always something.
Mindset,
but then like you say, if you're so present in person and you're still delivering that service as a makeup artist, like opportunities can still come from that job alone.
Totally.
There could be a bridesmaid in the chair who's getting married next year and will never forget the way you treated her.
Yeah.
But if you kind of storm it, and this is why we're exactly. But this is where personality plays such a big part in this thing, because if you are that type of person who lets one minor problem ruin your whole day, you're not cut out for this.
Yes. It's so true.
You have to be able to switch the brain.
100%. It's like that even per person, because let's say there's a group of 10 girls, maybe the first person that you get in your chair, something happens with that one person. If you let that first person affect the rest of the time, it's like you're not going to be able to create anything out of that day, right? Like you'll walk away with a negative mindset if you're fixated.
Yeah,
if that
totally.
makes sense. Yeah. One thing I wanted to add too, I kind of learned my lesson, I think, with one of the first destination weddings that I did. I had made a post. Basically, I was like so excited, but with my travel journey, it was just a long day and there were some things that had gone wrong. And then by the time I finally got to the destination, no cab would take me. Like I had 3 luggages. I'm by myself.
Where were you?
Sorrento.
Okay.
So it's like the cobblestone streets, you know?
So bad for
There's like so many steps I have to go up and no cab would take me. And I'm like, I don't even care what it costs at this point, but they wouldn't take me because I was too close to where I had to go. But they were worried about a spending minimum. I don't know, maybe I just got very unlucky, but I asked about 7 different drivers and nobody would take me because it was just up there. But it was all uphill and so many stairs and 3 luggages. Like it was just crazy. So anyway, I finally got to the hotel and I was so excited to be there. But I had made a post sharing my journey, like, such a crazy day. In my mind, what I thought was like putting a positive spin on it, right? Like, such a crazy day, but finally I'm here. I'm so excited for my bride or whatever. And my bride had messaged me that night being like, oh my God, babe, I'm so sorry you had to go through that. I read that and I was like, oh my God, that's not how I meant it at all.
Yeah.
And I felt so bad in that moment. It was such a learning curve for me where I'm like, I will never do that again because I would never want a bride to feel like it was not her fault at all. And like she did everything in her power to get me there. And I was so grateful for that opportunity. But it's still by that one little post, I like worded it wrong.
Right.
Yeah, it just didn't hit right.
Yeah.
And so I think that was a lesson going forward to where it's like, sure, maybe you can talk about that stuff, but like I may wait till like afterwards to really share that story.
Does it really need to go on social media in general?
Yeah.
I mean, look, I shared my masterclass issue the day after.
Yeah.
But
I
it's
guess
like,
it's also different too. It's not
different vibes. But yeah, I just think you have to be a bit careful when you're dealing with brides, especially high-paying brides.
Totally.
You know?
Yeah.
Do you have any dream destinations that you want to work in that you haven't been to yet?
Yes, I want to go to South Africa.
Do you?
Yes. And I got...
Oh my gosh, I've got an inquiry for January. I should send it to you.
Oh my God, please.
I can't do it.
Actually, it was in your masterclass.
Okay.
You remember, I forget which one it was. I think it was New York. We all wrote down something that we wanted to manifest.
Yes.
For the future.
Yeah.
I literally manifested a South Africa bride.
Wow.
I think it was like a month later, I got an inquiry for South Africa. It didn't go through.
Yeah.
But it just...
It's a sign, though.
It's a sign. Like, it's moving in the right direction,
Totally.
right?
Yeah.
So, it's really cool when you start to put that out in the world.
We love manifesting around here.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
What about you? Anywhere that you haven't been? I feel like you've been everywhere.
Honestly, at this point, no.
Yeah.
I really wanted to work in France because I hadn't done
Yeah.
a France wedding, but I did one last year and it was such a dream. It was in Lake Annecy.
Oh, my God.
So I'd love to go back to France.
Yeah.
But I wanted to do Lake Como. I did that. I love working in Mexico. Love it. Like,
Yeah.
I'll never say no to a Mexico wedding.
Yeah.
I love being down here.
It's the best.
I think just for the sake of being able to spend more time with my husband's family, it would be cool to start getting some weddings in Lebanon.
Ooh, that's
and there's a
cool.
huge market for it over there. It's
Yeah.
just that my makeup style is so natural, whereas the Arabic glam is like a bit more heavy and a bit more full.
Right.
Although Bashir, my husband, tells me that there is a market for like natural glam there as well.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I guess it's like anywhere, right?
Yeah.
Like some people love natural, some love full glam. He thinks that people over there would love my style. It's just a matter of like becoming known there. Do you know what I mean?
That, I could be wrong on this, but I feel like there's sometimes, depending on where you are, it's kind of like that's so much the norm, maybe like the heavier kind of makeup that like
they don't even know that
any different,
Yes.
right? So
Yeah.
once they start seeing that or like experiencing it, like
Yeah.
maybe it's like once they have it on themselves for the first time, it's like, whoa, what was I doing all these years? Like
Yeah.
I prefer this on myself, right? Sometimes it just takes, kind of like breaking into that market and being known.
Yeah, but they do have an incredible bridal market over there, so it would be cool to tap into.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'm good with traveling at the moment. I'm
Yeah.
enjoying spending some more time at home.
Yes.
So
That's nice.
yeah,
I'm like, get me everywhere in the world this year. I'm opposite vibes. I do not want to be home.
That's another good point as well that I wanted to mention that we haven't spoken about. But just going back, sorry, we're like jumping all over the place here, but something just popped up into my head. Going back to networking and how you get jobs and all of that, your connections are so important.
Yeah.
Because now that we know each other, if I'm unavailable, I'm recommending you.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? And like I have a bunch of artists as well, but if
Yeah.
it's like in Mexico or like somewhere in the States or whatever, you come first to mind, right?
Thank you.
But that's because it goes back to you putting yourself out there and buying a ticket to a
Yes.
masterclass.
Yeah.
Do you
For
know what I
sure.
mean?
Yeah.
So, like, just for any makeup artist listening that wants to have a similar career or tap into destinations or whatever it is you want to do, get yourself into rooms.
Yes.
And meet people in person.
100%.
In my last podcast episode, I talked about how I speak to so many makeup artists, like thousands of makeup artists, but the ones I remember are the ones that I meet in person.
Yeah.
Because you can't put a price on that.
Totally.
And this industry and this job is so personality based that, like, I don't want to recommend someone I haven't met.
For sure.
You know?
Yeah.
So I think that's really important too. Any last words of wisdom for an aspiring destination makeup artist?
I think I would say too, like following your authentic feelings, because people will also read if it's fake, you know? So if it's something that you feel like you're like forcing yourself to do, maybe it's better to not do it. Like to that point of putting yourself in the right rooms. It's like, yes, you want to be able to put yourself out there, but when you're in those rooms, just make sure you're being yourself, because that's going to speak through more than anything else.
Yeah.
You know, if you're trying to put on this persona or just trying to get into the right rooms to connect to the right people, like, sure, you might meet them, but will it last? Because at the end of the day, being yourself, like, no one can compare to that.
Yeah,
And I feel like
authenticity.
that's the biggest thing, because I think it's easy to get caught up in, like, I got to be doing this or I got to be doing that to, like, keep up with everyone else. But at the end of the day, no one's going to be you. And that's, like, the best part of it, you know?
Yeah. One question I get from a lot of people is, what is it like having this career as someone who's in a relationship or married, or like, how do I go spending time away from my husband, my family, and all of that? Because it is a unique career in the sense that, I mean, I don't have kids, so that will change when I do.
Yeah.
What's your experience with that?
I'm not married and I don't have kids, so I'm in a pretty good like position to be able to just take off, you know, whenever I want to. I've also, like, as I was saying earlier, kind of carved that time for this year to be able to be like fully remote. But I do recognize that it is hard for a lot of people, you know, especially if you have things to consider. Like if you have a partner to consider, even just things like a mortgage, for example, you know, you're going to be paying that monthly bill. Like, of course, you have to account for that. And as we've talked about before, like sometimes when you're taking time away from making the money locally, there's things you have to account for. And I think like a big thing, obviously, is just having a group around to support you. Like, for example, I don't have kids, but I do have my baby boy, my dog. And every time I go away, I try to take him when I can. But when I can't, my mom takes him. And I know that he's good there. And I'm thankful to have that, because again, if you have kids, if you have a dog, like that is extra costs too, especially if like, you're a single mom, you need someone to do childcare. Like it is additional costs that you're incurring while being away too, right?
I think, yeah, and then from the perspective of being in a relationship, you have to be with someone who truly supports you.
Totally.
Not just like supports you from
Yes.
the outside. It's like there's a difference, right? Like
100%.
I know, because I've been there.
Yep,
That
me
you know,
as well.
they can be supportive, but really they're making you feel guilty for it.
100%.
You know, so I'm lucky now that my husband, first of all, he also has his own thing going on. So
That's really important.
he has a business. He's got his own thing. So we're both very independent in our own ways, and we come together at the end of the day. And I think that's so important, because he's an entrepreneur. He understands fully what I do and pushes me to do it.
Yeah.
Like there's some things that I feel like, not from anything that he's made me feel, but I think, oh, maybe I should stay home. Like maybe I shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And he's like, babe, go while you've got the opportunities, because they won't always be there.
For sure.
They might be, but they might not be.
Yeah.
And you know, my life will change.
Totally.
Especially once I have kids.
Yeah.
So I think having someone that pushes you and that also has their own thing going on, so that they understand and they get it, that you're just working and you're working towards a goal.
Totally. I just want to touch on that too, because I think that supportive person in your life can be more than just like your partner too, right? In my perspective, I was in a relationship where I didn't have that support, but I really get that from my mom. She is my biggest supporter. And there are times where if I find myself doubting myself, she will be the one to push me. Like, go ahead and do it, you know?
Yeah.
So I think it is important to have the people around you that you know you can go to with anything that
Even
will be
your
there.
friends, like even your makeup friends. Like
Totally.
I always say this, you need makeup friends in your corner that encourage you.
100%.
And, you know, if you have the people in your corner that are a bit like negative towards things, or how could you do that? Then it's going to drag your mindset down.
Yes.
Like you want people around you that are like, go and do it. Do what you have to do.
Yeah, because there's always going to be those negative people, you know, that it'll happen in any industry.
Yeah.
But there's always going to be those people that are kind of like, how can you do that? Or how are you making that work? And it takes more of a negative context.
There's a bit
to
of
it.
resentment behind it. I
Yeah.
get comments. Like that's why I asked that question. 'Cause I get comments like, must be nice, but unsustainable in a marriage.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh my God, I hate that.
It's so wild.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like traveling for destination weddings is no different to what a pilot does, what a journalist does, what a lawyer, doctor, like whatever.
Yeah.
Like there's so many people who travel for work.
Totally.
Another point I wanted to make is that I don't turn these trips into vacations.
Yeah.
They're work trips.
Yeah.
And we should have really touched on that earlier when it came to money as well, because I think in the beginning you get really excited. At least I know I did in the first year, whereas I wanted to turn it into a vacation. I wanted to extend, but then all of a sudden you're spending all your money, you're not making anything. So
Yeah.
I very quickly realized that I needed to be in and out in order to make money.
Yeah.
But also now that I'm married, I want to get home.
Yes.
You know, and I want to be with my husband, and that he's my priority, and I want to be there, but
Yeah.
I love my career, and I wasn't ever going to give that up for a man either.
Totally.
You know,
Yeah.
I understand once kids comes around, it's a different story, and like there'll be sacrifices made, but I still see families that make it work. Like I've got a friend, Kayla Collection on Instagram, and she books a couple of destination weddings a year, and her husband use those times as like little vacations for themselves.
Yes.
So they'll go and do the wedding, Kayla will do the wedding, and then they might spend a few more days, have some alone time, and then come home.
For sure.
So people do make it work.
Yeah, and I feel like that all comes down to like your outlook on it, right? If you are going to look at it as, you know, I'm just not going to do it at all because I can't take on all of these destination weddings. Instead, let's look at it like, you know, you choose the one or two for the year and you make it like a whole family thing, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's good to be transparent about where we are in our personal lives as well in this industry, because someone like myself, for example, it's like, I know you're saying you're in and out. You want to go home to your husband. Like for me, I've changed up my whole year so that I'm able to be away as much as possible. Like I basically cut all of my ties for Toronto so that when I go home, I still love being home, but I'm eager to get out again. And like whenever an opportunity comes up, I'm taking it. And if the timing works out for me to stay in that place for the month, then I'm going to do that. You know, it's essentially like instead of paying rent in Toronto, I'm paying rent all around the world. If you kind of look at it that
100%.
way, right?
That's how I looked at it in the beginning as well, when I was traveling a lot more.
But again, it's very circumstantial. Like I curated that for myself because I knew that's the direction I wanted to go. But my life 5 years ago looked very different. I didn't have the flexibility to be able to do that because I was in a relationship.
Yeah.
And of course, I had to consider somebody else, right?
Yeah.
So
it's actually funny. I find a lot of the makeup artists that do go like balls to the wall with destinations are getting out of a relationship.
Yeah.
So
We finally have the freedom.
Right.
You know, clearly we were in the wrong relationships.
Yeah, no, it's crazy because, I think for a long time that held me back a little bit too. Not all the way. I definitely still chasing the career. Yeah, I think when you're with the right person or surrounded by the right family or friends or whatever, then they'll just encourage you to shoot for the stars.
100%.
You know? And like you say, like you can design your lifestyle. You don't have to be going to Europe every year.
Yeah.
The destination could be in your own country.
Yes.
Like you could be in LA doing a destination wedding in Miami or whatever.
100%.
Canada, going to Mexico, like it's a 4-hour flight. It's not a huge thing. You could go for 2 nights essentially.
Yeah.
Like exactly what I'm doing with this trip. I'm staying for 3 nights. I'm going home. So you can really design it the way you want it. I think that's why we love it.
Yeah.
Because it gives us the chance to design our lifestyle.
Totally. And I kind of want to add on to that too, because I think I touched on this a little bit earlier too, especially as when we have this like time frame of that society puts pressure on us and whatnot. But I think it also comes down to your outlook on life in general. Like maybe are not in a position to be doing these destination weddings. It's like the way that we hype up the destination weddings, it's like we can easily do that for the ones even in our own town, you know? It can be done anywhere, and like they are all just as exciting. So it just kind of depends what your current situation is, right?
Yeah, and where you want to take it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well that was so fun.
So much fun.
I feel like we answered a lot of questions, and I hope that you've gotten some good insight from this episode. Destination weddings are a ball of fun,
Yes.
but at the end of the day, it is still work.
Totally.
And what we do on destinations is exactly what we do on a local job. There is a bit more excitement there, I think.
Yeah.
But it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
So, you just have to figure out your journey. If you want to dive into destinations more, I do have a course on how to become a destination makeup artist. It's called Global Glam.
You guys definitely need to check it out.
Jess took Global Glam back in the day.
And here I am, now working side by side.
And if you've made it this far in the episode, I also do a discount code for you guys. It's more than makeup at checkout. But yeah, thanks so much, Jess. That was so much fun.
Thank you for having me.
And we have a few more exciting jobs coming up this year.
Yes, so New York, Toronto.
We still have tickets left to Toronto if anyone wants to come along to that.
Yes, guys, come check it out. Come say hi.
And yeah, we're really excited for the year, and I'm sure there'll be more jobs that pop up as well. There's always like random last minute things.
We have 4 or 5 in the works right now.
Yeah.
So
That's
excited.
something we didn't talk about, but like traveling with someone makes it feel safer,
Totally.
you know?
But especially feeling comfortable with that person.
Yes,
Like if the
100%.
vibe is not there, it makes it worse.
It's so
right?
true. I have to tell you something that I've never told you before.
Oh.
When I invited you to come to Tuscany with me,
Yeah.
I didn't need an assistant. I
Right.
didn't need anyone. You didn't do makeup on that job.
Yeah.
I get nervous about traveling to Tuscany because of what happened to me that I shared earlier.
Ah, okay.
So I just wanted company.
Yeah.
You offered.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, come. Like, I'll get
Totally.
the accommodation. I'll get the meals. Like, blah, blah, blah. Like,
Yeah.
if you want to come, come.
For sure.
But I got a 2-bedroom because we'd never stayed together before. So
Oh
I was
my
like, I
gosh.
don't know what the vibes are going to be like.
That's so funny. Okay, I was wondering where you're going with that because I was like, wait, yeah, I knew all of this. Yeah. Like
So-
I knew going into the job I wasn't going to be doing actual makeup. I was just
Yeah.
there to assist you. And
Yeah.
like that is so valuable in itself,
Yeah.
right? But that's hilarious.
Yeah, so you just like never know what the vibes are going to be like, right?
No.
So like I was down to have the company,
Yeah.
but then we got along so well,
Yeah.
and then the next job I was like, do you mind sharing a bed so I could just get a 1-bedroom? And
We're just in like the tiny New York
Tiny New
bedroom.
York bed.
I'm
And then
like,
for
this
this
is the
job,
most fun.
we got here and there's a bed and a futon, and we're sharing the bed.
Yeah, and it was fully pulled out for us, ready, made, and we're like,
didn't need
no,
that.
we're sticking with the king bed. But to be fair, that's a huge bed.
It is, yeah. There's lots of space.
I like woke up
And
in the
you
middle of the
sleep
night.
like
I'm
an
like, are you
angel.
over there?
You're like so quiet on the corner of the bed, making a noise, asleep in 15 seconds.
Oh my god.
But yeah, so it helps to travel with someone.
Totally.
So if you have someone that you can bring with you, it could be a friend, it could be a cousin, it could
Yeah.
be anyone. It doesn't have to be a makeup artist, just someone that will
100%.
come along for the ride.
Yeah.
I think that makes it easier.
For sure.
But yeah, thank you so much for all your insights.
Oh, thank you for having me.
And if you're listening, I will chat to you on the next episode. So should we go and get a margarita?
Absolutely.
Let's go.